In this video, I'm going to be talking about Dorax. So Dorax is an S tier earth slime. So the interesting thing about Dorax is an S tier slime, but the only way to actually get Dorax is purchasing him with real money, which makes him a bit unique. But there is actually a reason you would still maybe want to do this. So because he is an S tier slime though, he's not going to be as strong as like these other double S tier slimes. I mean, when you look at his base stats, he's right on par with the other double S tier slimes. But when we go and compare him to like Nepris, Chloris, Master Haku, his base stats are definitely a bit lower. And then we're going to see like his percentage stats, they're lower as well. So he's not a great slime from as far as the pure combat, pure stats perspective. Really the main reason you would want to get Doraks if you did is because of his level 200 passive you unlock. When he gets to level 200, this Dragon Covenant. So usually how it works is once you select a dragon, so either the fire, the poison, or the ice dragon, you are locked to that dragon permanently. There's no way to switch it, with the exception of if you go to the shop and then the booster section at the very bottom for $8.79 US, you can reset your talents once. You'll get a little gems with it. But it will give you all your gold back, but it will also let you pick a new dragon. It resets everything in your talents page. I wouldn't really recommend actually doing that anymore, especially now that Doraks has been released, because what you can do with Doraks is once you have him to level 200, like I do right here, now if you go over to the talent section, you're going to see the option to change Dragon Covenant. Now, if I went and like reset this, went back to the talent page, you're not going to see this anymore. This is how it looks most of the time. Once you have your dragon selected, you can't switch it. But now that I have Dorax unlocked, and once I level him up to level 200, I'm going to have the option on this far right allies page to change the Dragon Covenant. I can do this whenever I want, as many times as I want, as long as I have Dorax actively upgraded to level 200, and then I can go and switch it. So I was with Ignaz, now I can change it to like the Poison Dragon or the Frost Dragon, which are definitely, both of these two are the more popular dragons, but this is really helpful because you can play around with different strategies. Sometimes you might want to play with a strategy that will freeze the enemies and delay them. Sometimes you just want to do more crowd control, or if you want to do the Fire Dragon and just outright just more damage, you have these options now, which are just very helpful. Right here you can see I unlocked Elvis. It actually did end up just resetting all of my dragon talent, so that's what it does right there. When you change the talent, it'll refund you the gold, and then you actually have to go back in and then actually just remax the talents. So that is a little just of a time consumption thing. You got to make sure you actually take the time to do that when you go and switch to the dragon. But really having the flexibility to change the dragon whenever you want and then play around with different strategies there is really nice. I'll go and play with that in a minute. But for now, I did just want to go over real quick the rest of Dorax abilities. So other cool things Dorax has. So as far as his milestone abilities, we're getting lifesteal, critical chance, attack, range damage, HP. So note, we are only getting 40% attack, 80% HP. That is it as far as those percentage, just attack and HP goes. So when you're comparing it to like a Nepris who's getting 80% attack, and then 120% HP, Chloris that's getting 60% HP, 120% attack, he's definitely getting a lot less base stats. As far as those percentage things, he does have a cool passive in a minute, which we'll talk about, that boosts the HP part of it a little, but you're noting he's not getting a ton of attack. So for the level 125, we're getting hit rate, which is helpful. And then the level 150 ability, so when a slime's HP drops below 50%, it gains this reverse skill for 10 seconds. During this period of time, it cleanses, becomes immune to debuffs, and then increases final damage by 25%. So anytime your slime goes below 50% HP, and then in like hard mode and hell mode, I believe this does apply to all of the slimes in battle. Anytime they go below 50% HP, they're going to get that immunity to debuffs temporarily. So if they have an attack speed debuff, regeneration debuff, something like that, that will go away for a minute, and then they're going to get increased bonus damage. The downside, in order for this to trigger, they have to drop beneath 50% HP. So if that's happening a lot, they might just be dying anyways. So there are just some things you got to be aware of as far as whether you build the Tower of Elements a certain way, or if you're using the Eternal set. There are ways that you can capitalize on this ability to just help you a bit. Now, once again, most of the time when you purchase Dorax, you're not going to be using him a ton actually in battle, just because he is only that S tier slime. Then we get, for a level 175, splash damage. That level 200 unique skill, Dragon Covenant. One other thing I wanted to note with that, so it allows you to change covenants, so change dragons anytime you want. Also, when Dorax is in battle, it will boost any of the effects of the dragons by 20%. So whether it be like a slow or a freeze or just damage, it does boost the dragons as well, which is nice. But really, dragons aren't primarily going to be this big game-breaking thing. They're definitely helpful, but that 20% isn't going to be too crazy of a difference. For the level 225, 10% lifesteal, good for a little survivability. Then the level 250 ability, we're getting 200% bonus shield HP, which is nice. So as far as the unique skills here, so the first unique skill is Dorax active skill. So it's a Dragon Flame Cannon. It deals damage. It lasts for a period of time. And then it's also going to, essentially, it kind of combines a lot of the aspects of the fire and the poison dragon. It debuffs them, decreases their attack and attack speed, and then it deals burn damage. So if we wanted, I'll hop into battle and show you this real quick. I'm going to go to normal mode, and I'm going to go to, we'll do stage 12, and I'll slow it down. But when I use the ability right here, you're going to see it kind of just pops it down there. It's a little, the animation looks very different from the regular dragon. So it does a lot of the effect of the regular dragon, and you can kind of see the poison fog that appears after. But it does kind of just come down like a quick meteor, comes down, and then you have that little poison fog area where it does that reduction, or that burn over time, and then debuff. So, it's nice because it doesn't mess up your gameplay speed as much. Like when you use the regular dragon ability, it does that whole slowdown thing. But you can see it definitely does help. It wasn't anything too crazy or game-breaking, though, as far as the amount of damage it does. The debuffs it does to the enemies, though, can be a bit helpful if you play around with the timing. For this second passive, so how it works is anytime you kill an enemy with Dorax, and this is especially really helpful and easy to stack in like Hell mode, but anytime you kill an enemy, you have an 8% chance to gain 1 stack of Dragon's Might, up to 200 stacks. Each stack boosts his final damage by 0.3%, so in total you can get like a 60% bonus to your final damage. So you can actually really help Doraks' final damage, and then once you reach that max stacks of 200%, or of 200 stacks, you're going to get an additional 40% bonus HP. Now the way that 40% is calculated, it is on your final HP. So say you had 1,000,000 HP, you would get 40% of that, so you get 400,000. So your new HP would be 1.4 million. So if we want to see this in battle, we just go in battle here. I'm going to turn up the speed a little. There's going to be a counter just right above Dorax's head as we progress through the battle. Now, no, because it is only an 8% chance, it's very hit-miss as far as when he gets those stacks, but it is gradually going to increase. Now, because we're on normal mode, stage 12, and just the amount of enemies, you can see it is stacking a bit slowly, so we might not actually get to that full stack, which is just a little unfortunate because of all the final damage and HP he can get. So that's the key with Dorax. If you're really struggling to beat the wave in the first place, it's not going to be as good because he really needs some time to get rolling. But if we go and back it up here to like stage 2 on Hell mode, I know I can beat this stage for sure. But what you can see is, again, it does start a little hit and miss, but because we're on hell mode and just due to the amount of enemies that are appearing, it is definitely stacking a lot faster. I know I can get to 200 stacks by the end of this battle, which is just really helpful as far as making sure we're getting that full benefit. But really, one thing when you're trying to look at that second passive, you're going to have to actually be able to progress far in the stage for you to get much of that benefit out of that second passive. But that's it for Dorax. I mean, so really overall, the main reason you're going to use Dorax or even look at him is because you want to change the dragon passive or change the dragons, play around with that. But he does have some kind of fun gameplay stuff that you can play around with as well. But thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions.